All right, so this is Cadet Griffith for Scenario 2, the Terrorism database. This is going to be Deliverable 2-1. All right, so here we have our database. Our interface. This is going to be our dashboard, as you can see down here, labeled at the bottom. Basically, we have a few user inputs that we're going to have, and these are going to be based off of our systems diagrams that we made in the beginning. Let's take a look at those. All right, so here we have the internal block diagram. You can see that this big box is the system itself, and we're going to be interacting with the terrorism database first through Excel and using RStudio and VBA Code and whatnot. The Excel code will interact with that database and basically ultimately come out with a geospatial map and then move that to PowerPoint so it can be presented and we can visualize it, and that will come out of the system. Moving on to the use case diagram. Basically, we have three actors. We have our user, we have our macros, and we have the user interface. And there's 5 basic use cases that it takes care of. So the macros are going to sort the data, graph the data, export the data, and present the data. And the user interface will also present the data, sending it to PowerPoint. The user itself is going to just visualize the data and input into the user interface. Moving on to the requirements diagram. I'm not going to go through every single one of these. Basically, the system is going to sort and display the terrorist attack data. The file that we were given is very extensive and very hard to contemplate just by looking at it. So we need to make code that's going to sort that data out and give us the information that we want to use. We're going to use import and organizing. We're going to use VBA Code. It's going to be based off the user inputs on that dashboard, and then it's going to present the results. It'll do that graphically and with a list. And then there's obviously going to be some criteria for the input and how the user does that. All right, so here we're back at the dashboard, and I'm just going to bring in some of the code that we have written. Basically, these are all of our filters. That's going to filter the data based on the COCOM or the region or the country or the date or the distance down here. And then also in these other modules, these were used to fill the empty space data. So for this one, we have it filled in the date based off the event ID, and then this gives that date a value, so we can then sort the data by the dates given given 2 dates the user can input, and then it'll sort the data by those dates. And then for the module here, module 3, we have a function and a sub, and this is going to calculate the distance, basically a great circle based on a latitude and longitude and a distance that the user inputs, and it'll calculate all the terrorist attacks within that circle. And then here we have just some other subs where we use to make our dashboard and code a little bit easier. All right, so let's just go ahead and do a little example. We just have some drop-down lists. Here's COCOMs. We have countries, the region, and like I said earlier, we have some dates going all the way back. You can type them in if you want, or you can do it from the drop-down list. Either way is fine. And then here's the longitude and latitude and then also the distance if we want to do 3,000. So let's go ahead and just sort the data right here. Let's go ahead and sort this by Paycom. So as you can see, took all of the data, sorted it by the COCOM and specifically Pacific Command, and exported it into a new sheet called My Data. And then later on in the next deliverables, we'll be able to take this data and create some graphs and then export it to PowerPoint. This concludes Deliverable 2-1. Thank you, sir.